Just imagine this for a second. You're 24, you've got a college degree, you landed a good job, and you are sitting in your car in a Target parking lot, just frozen, because you're trying to do the math in your head to figure out if you can actually afford groceries this week. Now, this isn't some made-up story. For millions of people, this is the real, gut-wrenching reality of life after graduation.
So how does this even happen? How does the thing that's supposed to be your golden ticket to a stable, middle-class life lead you to a moment of financial panic in the grocery aisle? Well, today we're going to dive in and unpack what's known as the modern degree trap.
All right, first things first, we have to talk about the huge, massive gap between the dream that gets sold to you when you're 17 and the actual bill you're handed when you're 22. You've heard this a million times, right? From your parents, your teachers, your guidance counselors. It's drilled into us from day one. College is the one and only path to success. That debt? Oh, don't worry, that's good debt. It's an investment that's going to pay for itself 100 times over. I mean, questioning it feels like questioning the law of gravity.
So, let's meet Alex. Now, Alex is our stand-in for millions of grads. She did everything right. She listened to all the advice. She got a practical degree in marketing. She even landed a job right out of school. And now, she's the one in the Target parking lot. She followed the map perfectly, but somehow it led her way off course.
So, what did Alex's big investment actually cost her? Let's get into the real numbers, because they're pretty staggering. The average total cost, that's tuition, room, board, the whole shebang for 4 years at a public in-state university is now over $112,000.
Okay, but what if you go to a private university? Well, that number skyrockets to $230,000 on average. Let that sink in. We are talking about the price of a house in many parts of the country for a 4-year degree.
And for a top-tier school, something like USC, you're looking at nearly $400,000. You are paying Lamborghini prices for an education that, let's be honest, was sometimes delivered over Zoom. At this point, it's not an investment, it's a straight-up luxury good. So, let's take a look at how that insane price tag doesn't feel like an investment at all. Instead, for so many, it becomes a financial anchor that's chained to you for decades. Here is a super simple but totally real breakdown of Alex's monthly budget. After taxes, she brings home about $3,400. Right off the top, her student loan payment snatches $730. Then you add in rent, a car, groceries, all the essentials. And what's she left with? $470. That's it. For savings, for an emergency, for a broken tooth, for having any kind of life at all. That margin is razor thin. And this chart just paints the picture perfectly. Look at that. A full 21% of her entire take-home pay is gone poof just to service her student loan. Add in rent and the other basics, and you realize that over 85% of her income is spoken for before she can even think about saving a dime or building a future. But you know, the really crucial part here is the long-term cost. This timeline shows you the true opportunity cost of that debt. I mean, look, while her friends who went to trade school are buying homes at 28, Alex is still renting. While they're starting families, she feels like she can't even afford to date seriously. She's going to be 43 years old. 43 by the time she finally pays off the degree she got when she was 22.
You know, when a problem is this widespread, it can't just be an accident. So, what is driving all this? The tough pill to swallow is that this isn't a broken system. It's a system that's working exactly as it was designed to. You can think of it like a machine with 3 main gears that just keep turning. First, you've got administrative bloat. Universities are hiring bureaucrats and non-teaching staff at twice the rate of actual professors. Second, the amenities arms race. They're competing to lure you in with luxury dorms and lazy rivers, not better education. And the third gear, the one that powers the whole engine, federally guaranteed student loans. This system pumps an endless river of easy money into universities so they have absolutely zero incentive to control their costs. It's a cycle that's great for the schools, but terrible for the students.
And you can see the result right here, plain as day. Since 1980, the cost of college has shot up at nearly double the rate of everything else in the economy. Back in 1980, you could actually work a summer job to pay for a year of tuition. Today, that sounds like a complete fantasy. The game totally changed, but the advice we give our kids stayed exactly the same.
Okay, but what about the big counter-argument you always hear? That idea that, yeah, college is expensive, but grads earn so much more over their lifetime that the debt is always worth it, right? Well, let's actually dig into that because the details really matter here.
The reality of that return on investment is, well, It's messy. A shocking 28% of bachelor's degree programs actually have a negative return. That means they will leave you poorer than if you never went at all. On top of that, about half of all recent graduates are underemployed. They're working jobs that don't even require their expensive degree. And that's not just a problem for the first year out of school. A decade later, 45% are still in that same boat.
So, if the traditional four-year degree path is so full of financial landmines, what are the alternatives? Let's talk about the roads that are too often overlooked.
I mean, this slide just lays it out so clearly. Look at the data. A trade school program costs just a tiny fraction of a university degree and takes less than half the time to complete. But here's the kicker. The starting salary for a skilled electrician can actually be higher than a marketing grad's. So while Alex is spending her 20s just digging out of a massive hole of debt, the electrician is building wealth, buying a home, and starting their life debt-free. The math here is just undeniable.
And you know what? The job market is finally starting to catch on. Huge companies like Google, Apple, and Bank of America are dropping their four-year degree requirements for a lot of roles. They're sending a massive signal. In today's economy, what you can actually do is becoming way more important than the piece of paper hanging on your wall.
And this brings us to what might be the most important takeaway of all. If you or someone you know is considering college, you have to push aside all the cultural pressure and the glossy brochures and just do the brutal, honest math.
Before you sign that dotted line for a student loan, you have to ask these hard questions. What is the total cost, all in, for this specific degree at this specific school? What do graduates from this exact program actually earn in the real world? How much debt am I going to have, and can I really afford those monthly payments on that likely salary? And maybe the most important question of all, what else could I do with 4 years of my life and $100,000?
So here's the bottom line. We have to stop treating college like it's some default, automatic cultural milestone and start treating it for what it actually is, one of the biggest financial products you will ever buy. It demands the same cold, hard, unsentimental analysis as buying a house or making a major investment in the stock market.
Which brings us right back to Alex, in her car, in that Target parking lot. Her situation, it's not a personal failure. It is the calculated, predictable outcome of a system that's designed to maximize revenue for schools while shoving all of the risk onto the backs of students. So the question isn't just how we fix it, but how many more Alexes will this system create before we finally decide we have to change it?